If you're enjoying the Health Geeks Book Club podcast, we'd appreciate if you hit the subscribe button, leave a like, rating, or review, whichever your preferred podcatcher platform allows.
This episode is sponsored by Well Balanced Nutrition and 360 Health.
Welcome to the Health Geeks Book Club podcast. Listen in as Kristen Norton and Eleanor Russell review all those great health and wellness books you've been wanting to read or you have read and want to talk about. Here's Kristen and Eleanor.
Health Geeks, we're back. Oh, it's been fun taking a little bit of restoration. Maybe you guys did too. What have you been up to, Kristen?
Oh, I have been reading, of course, and had a wonderful December and January, just kind of hunkering down and being with my family and enjoying some snow days too.
Yeah. Well, you know, we spent a year reading all those books, and you said you were so proud of yourself for I read those books, and I feel the same way. Did you reflect on any of them and do anything with the information that kind of perked through that, or did you really take a hiatus?
No, accidentally, these books kept showing up in my life.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
That happened for me too.
The Atomic Habits in particular for me, because he goes into, I should have reviewed it before this, but he goes into how we only make a change if we can really personalize it and become that person. Mm-hmm. So I used that trick and kind of shifted my mindset around my exercise goals. And so far it has been really, really helpful.
So that idea of becoming, I believe that's something that came out of these books too, is who are we becoming?
Yeah.
It's not who are we right now, but who are we becoming, and what do we, the process of getting there, not necessarily I got there, because once you get there, what do? You know, I mean, it's not over. It still goes on. And you said that the Atomic Habits, did you get any of his newsletters? Because he had so many resources in that book.
I do, but
I do too.
I haven't really had a chance to dive into the newsletters much.
Well, I'm going to suggest that you do. They're short, they're focused, and they have good little tips in them that are kind of refreshing and kind of reminding you about what you might like to be doing and becoming. That thing about exercise, you said you did some exercise. I did a 30-day plank challenge.
Awesome.
The month of January, and I had a whole bunch of people do it with me, and we encouraged each other. You know, a lot of these groups talk about accountability and having someone do things with you, particularly exercise. They say you're more likely to move your body if you have a buddy. So we got some buddies together, and this is our third year of planking in January. And I have some people that, a lot of people just watched. They were like, I wish I was doing that, but I'm not quite ready. And so this morning I woke up and there in my feed is, I'm starting today. It's a new month. So maybe we're inspiring some other people to do some good things too.
Yeah. Let us know out there. Tim, do you have a number they can call and leave us a voicemail?
Absolutely. 336-422-6862. 336-422-6862, or as we like to say on the network, since you guys are now on the network.
What network is that?
That's the Less Desirables podcast network.
Thank you.
And you're the most desirable of the Less Desirables podcast network. It's 336-422-NUMB. And we don't want you to be numb. We want you to be the opposite.
Is that N-U-M-B?
N-U-M-B,
okay.
6862.
And you can also follow us on Instagram at Health Geeks Podcast, where you can interact with us there. And we'd love to hear what you're doing.
You can call me, or you can contact me on my website, 360healthforyou.com. We've got a little place there if you want to put some comments in. We're happy to take them from there to the Health Geeks Book Club.
Sounds good. So you said you did a podcast.
Yeah, I did with Tim. You and I did that. Do you remember?
Yes, that was awesome.
It was a lot of fun, yeah.
And that was our first invitation to join someone. Well, actually, the Chamber of Commerce invited me once. And so I have been invited twice. I'm getting excited about my guest appearances.
But this was the first one for the Health Geeks Book Club podcast.
Yes.
And you guys were great guests too. I'll say it was so much fun. Had a beverage and just talked about health geeky book things, and it was really cool. One of my friends actually listened and says that was really interesting. I said, yeah, I mean, if you hear it, it sounds like it's going to just the name itself. You're like, oh god, yeah, but I have not once been bored in the recording, and I don't know anybody who's listening other than the people who just want to nag about something, who
a lot of hot air, huh?
Yeah, doesn't enjoy listening. It's a great podcast.
Oh, since you brought that up, and we are getting a little more participation, people are coming to me and saying, "Okay, this podcast thing, I don't really get it yet. How do you get it?
How do you follow?"
Well, even just getting it, it's like, okay, the Health Geeks Book Club. You told me that podcast, and now do I need a player or what do I do?
Well,
can you help some of these folks that might
absolutely might
not have gotten here yet?
Right. So welcome. So if you're just finding this, welcome. Mm-hmm. If on your phone or on your computer, you can do it on your computer too. If you go to Apple Music or Apple Podcasts or Spotify or Stitcher is one of the leading podcatcher platforms for podcasting. Specifically, if you go to any of those and you type in the search, which is usually
just go to the name of that thing.com.
You can, or if you're on your cell phone, if you have a smartphone, which I would say 90%.
Oh no, I've had people do that. They open their phone. Oh, my phone's got something on here that'll do it. So it's like they've never done it and didn't know they even had it.
So where the little magnifying glass is, that's your search box usually. Click that, type in Health Geeks Book Club, and it'll come up, and you'll have an option to listen or subscribe. I suggest that you do both. And if you hit the subscribe button, if it has a little bell next to it, then hit that, because that will alert you, which means you get a notification on your phone or an email that tells you when a new episode is available.
Okay, now they say, and I liked it, and I wanted to say something. I don't know how to do a review or a comment.
So on Spotify now, they do allow reviews and ratings.
Oh.
Apple does allow review and ratings. And here's a hint to the listeners. If you like what you hear, when you like and leave a review and rate it, that pushes it up on the charts, which gets more traction, which puts it, Apple especially,
reach more people.
It lets you reach more people.
We need you to help us.
And when people are reached, then that attracts sponsors and other content, and that helps Eleanor and Kristen
keep going
to bring you more podcasts of this awesome material that you have enjoyed listening to up to this point.
And Kristen, has anybody said to you that they're so glad we're doing this because they really don't like to read and they didn't want to read the book, but they're so glad that we did?
I've said it to you.
Yes. But besides Tim.
Yes, and that it's helpful that we can kind of simplify the books too. That might be more on the complicated side that someone wouldn't necessarily read, but they can listen to the podcast, kind of be a part of our conversation, listen in, and then get those takeaways that are simple enough and easy to digest.
Yeah, and I'm thinking that it also helps them decide, I think I do want to read that book. I am going to go get that book, but I'm not messing with that other one.
Right.
That kind of an just helps that flavor. We can give them a flavor of, we found something valuable in here. You probably will too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, it's like when they pick up a book and look on the back and there's a New York Times review or something, what somebody said. You guys are doing the same thing. So it could be, wow, that's really interesting. It's more interesting than I thought it was. I'll buy that book, so it can help the author as well. Or they can be like, why do I need to know that? I'm not buying that book. I'm glad they told me, so now I know the information, but that book sounds like a chore. So, and the same book might elicit several different reactions.
Yeah, we hope so.
Yeah, because it's not, both of you don't always agree on the book. And if everybody liked it, then there would be no variety in it. So, people are checking things differently. So that's one of the benefits, I think, of the Health Geeks Book Club podcast is that you are, I don't know, steering them to buy or not buy. You're still steering them to be better educated about the book.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, on that, I have to say, it occurred to me this morning, when you take a shower, you sometimes have weird thoughts.
Yeah.
And so I was thinking about, if I died and somebody came in here and saw all these books around my house, they'd say, God, what a crazy lady was this? And, the worst thing would be is they open up my book, because I really interact with my books. I have scribbled all sorts of exclamatory things or underlined and starred and argued with these authors or said, yes, I love you, you're my soulmate, that kind of a thing. And I think, I don't know if I want anybody to open my books or not, but I got stacks of them. I need a new bookcase.
Well, I think that's neat that they could get to know you and
how
it'd
you
be
scary. That would be scary.
Book.
It's like, no, this woman really was weird.
It'd be vulnerable. We'll talk about that in the next podcast.
Yes, we will. So I guess, are we maybe needing to wrap this little conversation up, or can we keep gabbing?
Yeah, I'll take a break to talk a little bit about one of our sponsors, Well Balanced Nutrition.
Good.
So at Well Balanced Nutrition, we offer highly personalized nutrition coaching to help you make behavior changes, to implement mindful and intuitive eating strategies, and help you do some meal planning so that you have healthy, nourishing, and satisfying meals. We'd love to have you visit our website, wellbalancednutrition.com, and get to know the 3 dietitians that we have in our practice.
Fabulous. And I love referring people to you.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, it's fun. I have a positive community of folks, and I mentioned the plank challenge that we do. So people that buy products from me also get connected to each other, because we believe that if you surround yourself with positive people who are interested in creating healthy lifestyles, you will be more likely to maintain a healthy lifestyle for a long time and reap the benefits from that. So if you're interested in any of that kind of a conversation, Eleanor at 360healthforyou.com.
And I just wanted to shout out how I appreciated your Christmas gift. You gifted some dishwasher, dish soap that I love. And on the side it says, this is a practice of self-restraint, because a little goes a long way, and I'm usually like pouring a ton of it. So it's been fun and very effective. And so thank you very much for your kind gift of some Shaklee dish soap.
I agree.
Good. All right, folks. Well, stay tuned, because we've got a whole year of some good book reviews coming up, and we hope you will listen in with us regularly.
That's right. Thanks for listening.
The views and opinions stated in this podcast are solely those of the contributors and are not necessarily those of our distributors or hosting company. This podcast is copyrighted, and no part can be reproduced without the expressed written consent of Kristen and Eleanor.